Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW.
These sons will beat you.
That's right, folks. Big news flash. Oh my God! VSW.
Brass hats know what time it is. Get up off of your seats and bow down to the king.
One of the greatest in this game, and one of my favorite all-time people in this game. The Versace Stoner.
It's places like this. I started in a mill. I'm here still in a mill. I consider myself a mill wrestler.
Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner. Today, we are talking about something very special, folks, okay? As you know, I'm a big fan of Limitless Wrestling. They are an amazing, amazing promotion. I asked the question, what does Limitless mean to you? And I meant it in, a way, because there's so many people that have, spoken out and talked about how it is a cure for depression, an escape from reality, something to better their mind, body, and soul. That's exactly what Limitless Wrestling is to me as well. And one of the toughest, times that we've experienced in our lifetimes was the pandemic. A lot of change happened very fast. And, getting back to normality was very difficult as well. Wrestling being a big part of my life and a lot of people's life, being on halt wasn't easy. And when it came back when I saw it come back. It was, Limitless. It really first caught my attention. And, it gave this refreshing feeling that everything's going to be okay. And I would, wait for that weekly episode of The Road to see exactly, what was going on. Really got enthralled with their storylines and with their, wrestlers, because it was that, escape from the daily, news of, the pandemic and all the toll and everything that was happening in the world at the time. And still today, Limitless is a great escape. I love going out to Maine, and that is exactly what is happening this weekend, folks. It is the anniversary show. One of the biggest shows of the year every year, and it gets better and better. Limitless has had some, outstanding historical matches, and look at their roster from years, to now. They've had some of the biggest, brightest names that are, even on television today. So, let's dive into it. Let's take a look at what we are looking at. I'm going to share some things and we can check it out here. Here we go. And, this is the show, the 8th anniversary. Very, 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 very excited, for all of this. And we're going to kind of go over a little bit about the ending of what took place at the end of the Vacation Land Cup. So much happened there that, it's hard to ignore. First off, Rip Bison winning, becoming the world champion. That is a tremendous feat for Rip Bison, which also I've just seen him gain great success in Japan. Congratulations. That's something to really be proud of. It has been a dream of yours to get out there. It's something that you really, been striving for. And, honestly, you look awesome out there. Both him and Perry Von Vicious, both killing it out there internationally, as well as Anthony Green. And go figure, all three have been part of Limitless. Limitless creates and has created and has showcased many superstars, worldwide. Definitely. But, like I said, so much taking place in that last show. So you had Rip Bison becoming world champion, but You had Channing Thomas, Mr. World Class himself. One of my favorite wrestlers on the scene right now, with one of my favorite people. Sydney Bacabella. This guy is just amazing. I've watched a lot of his stuff, starting from Chikara on. And, he's done a lot of stuff locally and even, in bigger levels like Beyond, Limitless, and other scenes. Just really an overall great person. I've had him on my show before. From Camp Leapfrog, one of my funnest interviews to ever do actually was with Sydney Bacabella. But he's taken the reins of manager for Channing Thomas. Previously they were, he was in that trios Prestige, with John Alba running. And John was a great choice for that. And you had him, BRG, and Mac all together, in this trios. They single-handedly killed MSP, what they used to be. But things changed. People, grew apart, and when Channing kind of, separated himself, and he became different from the rest. And you saw him, under the reins of Sydney Bacabella, and he's just done a tremendous job, not just in Limitless, but just across all the promotions and all the territories. I mean, world-class Channing Thomas is a top superstar. And I wouldn't be surprised if he soon, too, will get called somewhere to a bigger promotion nationally or, internationally. It's just bound to happen. Bound to happen. So you had him win the tournament. Then you had him challenge for the belt and win that as well. I mean, that's like winning the Royal Rumble and then, challenging for the title and winning it that night, or, winning Money in the Bank and using it that night to win. This guy did it, and he did it efficiently, and he is the new world champion of Limitless. Sydney picks winners. He did pick a winner in Channing, and Channing, like I said, is, he's been a household name for me for quite a while. I started seeing him, I'll be honest, in NCW, funny little heel, got booed by the fans, paired up with BRG a little bit, did some, work here. Then he kind of went, face on everybody there. And he was, in a different role. He was with one of my other favorite wrestlers, Vern Vicalo, tagged up. He had gold. He, started to grow, though, started to evolve, started to get better and better. And, watching his singles matches, watching him in other promotions, and all throughout. And then watching him in Limitless, he's really evolved to such a great level. Such a great level. And, like I said, there he is right there. He's this probably is my most favorite character of his. Would be this version, this world class. I mean, this is just, like I said, and then you got Sydney Bacabella, the WWF Hall of Famer. Holding. It's just amazing. I don't know what capacity he will be there, but he will be there to celebrate. Very excited for that. We have other people that have been announced. Like I said, the whole show hasn't been announced. Only some matches, and we will talk about those matches. But other people have been announced. I'll show you just exactly what I'm talking about. There we are. New software. Another international icon right here, going to be in action. And that's Becca. Another person that, I just can't speak highly enough about is Becca. She is just a phenomenal athlete and individual. Again, another person I started seeing the beginning of 2020. I saw her wrestle for the first time as Basic Becca in NCW, right? And then the pandemic hit and everything shut down. But I followed her on social, and I she had this like 80s like kind of gym instructor vibe, and it was okay, but it was lacking. And she started changing that a little bit and started with this scrungy squad. And she had this, just something about her. And she was actually the first wrestler that I ever sponsored. I remember it was our Limitless show and they were doing talent sponsors. And I threw money down to sponsor Becca. Because this is somebody, like I said, I started watching her social posts. I started seeing her moving, and she's a young bright athlete. And all of a sudden, she did whatever she did. I heard she did some kind of a seminar, which is pretty amazing. Considering that after that, she came out like bats out of hell. And, she did like a whole 360 character wise, everything. I mean, she really started putting it all in. And I remember watching like The Road and just, really following her story and really seeing, her try to recruit people for the scrungy squad. And she was fighting Ava Everett, and she was, doing this and that, and just really having great matches. And her match with Mason and all these other matches, just became such, just a great Limitless athlete. And that was just in Limitless. I've also seen her, dominate in other promotions as well. Chaotic, holding the first Panoptic title, and NCW holding the women's first women's championship. All these promotions just really opened her up. And now today, she's traveling internationally, fighting internationally. She's been on television, she's been on TV, WWE, AEW, you name it, she's been there. And she's only gonna go to the top. She's been rising very fast. And she's a tremendous, athlete to watch. Very lucky to see her. I don't know, again, another person. I'm not sure how long we'll get to watch her locally, because eventually she probably will be nationally only, and that'll be a sad day. But we're lucky in New England. We get to see all these great athletes, rise, and we get to see them before they become too big. And that's what's great about Limitless. It has such a rich roster, rich roster. Another great person that's going to be in attendance is going to be Puff. I love Puff. Okay, I have to say I love Puff. I first saw Puff at a Beyond show. It's pretty cool because this was again 2020. So many things happened in 2020 that just kind of like introduced me to such cool wrestling and cool wrestlers. But beginning of 2020, Beyond Wrestling held the show. It was called BC Dub. It was supposed to be something a little bit different. They were getting out of this uncharted territory era, and so the producers wanted a more professional show. No profanity, no this, no that. And it was it was at Melrose. It was a half. It was partnered with the other. It wasn't partnered, but the other half of the day was the last Evolve show. So it was actually a nice doubleheader show. We wouldn't know it would be the last Evolve show at the time, unfortunately. But what a show that was too. But this Beyond show, and I remember seeing Puff come out. Puff came out, and it was the trios, and he did, he was with Garcia and Blackwood, both of them at the time. And at the time, to be honest with you, they weren't on my radar. I hadn't gotten that far into the independent scene. I was still, just hanging around, just kind of the real locals, but hadn't really ventured out. So I didn't really, I'll be honest, I didn't know them and really recognize them and get to know them until later on when I saw them on Limitless. And, Kenny Garcia is our former champion. Blackwood was with them the whole time. He's a great wrestler. He'll be in action too. But I saw Puff, and Puff was great. He did a few great spots in there that really kind of, I was like, wow, this is fun. And, I follow him on social, fun guy. And he's always been very friendly with the fans. I got to meet him afterwards, And I saw him another time, again, also at Limitless, kind of chilling. Always showing support for, Blackwood and Garcia. Just overall, a good person in professional wrestling. So he's going to be in action as well. So we don't know who with who, but, I mean, that's going to be another great matchup. That's going to be another great matchup there. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else or the rest is matches right now. Yes, we do got somebody else. This is fun too. A new person. The Southern Flamingo, Cody Lane, makes his Limitless debut on Saturday, September 30th. Fun, fun times. That's going to be a fun, okay? I mean, he looks like a fun wrestler. He's going to belong right, in Limitless. Looks wild. Um, Looks like somebody I'd be smoking with, to be honest with you. Kind of cool dude. I'll be interested to see what it's all about. Like I said, I haven't really been back to Limitless this year. It's been a wild ride this year, and just with family and life, man. Taking its tolls and doing its thing. But we're so excited to be going back. We love Limitless. We love Maine. Maine's a fun time. Limitless is great wrestling. Put the two together, it's a dream come true. And let's talk about some of these matches. Speaking about dreams come true, because some of them are dream matches. I mean, right off the bat, let's get right into it. We were just talking about them. Kevin Blackwood versus Aaron Rourke for the first time ever. Aaron Rourke, another great superstar. He's held gold too in chaotic wrestling. He's also, made his mark in Limitless under art, with Ava Everett and Ricky Smokes. But, now it's time, like every great wrestler in a trios, to do some solo work. And he's picked a great challenger here. This is going to be a great matchup. Kevin Blackwood, amazing, phenomenal wrestler. I've watched him wrestle all over since seeing him in Limitless. Like I said, after that Limitless, then putting him back to that Beyond show and then watching him on IWTV, even going and checking him out in Jersey when I went to VXS, and then watching him, on some of his promotions in the West Coast. I didn't get to go out there, but I did, watch it on IWTV. Tremendous wrestler, fun guy. I talked to him a few times after the show. Always, pleasant, great person. Take photos with. He's funny. Cool merch too. He designs, I guess, a lot of the merch, which I have to throw props to that as being, a graphic designer as well. Anybody that designs their own stuff and can draw and artistic abilities, it's just praise. Great stuff. It's going to be a great singles match. I don't know which way it is going to go. I mean, like I said, Aaron Rourke got a lot to prove, but so doesn't Blackwood. I mean, for the longest time, I feel like he was in the shadow of, Danny Garcia, and he didn't really get his time to shine because, then he kind of moved and things kind of changed. So, I mean, maybe it is his time, and maybe it is time to start to rise again in Limitless. And maybe we'll see gold around him at some point if he ever, gets up to the ranks of challenge, Channing Thomas. Because this puts into a, predicament now. Because normally, the winner of the cup would get to face, the champion at, the anniversary show. But that's not going to happen now because, well, the winner already won. So it'll be interesting to see, if he even has a match on the card, the champion. Maybe he just really is there to celebrate. We'll have to see. But I'll tell you, these two, only one of them will be celebrating as well. This is going to be a hard, fast-paced match. I think it's going to be, though, also very, 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 I mean, they're both, I don't know how to say it. They're both talented, so it's going to be, very back and forth. It's pretty evenly matched. They're both great wrestlers. They're both great athletes. And they're both very maneuverable. It's going to be interesting. Blackwood does have a great submission. And he always reminded me of like an MMA fighter, even in his style. So I might give him an edge in this. Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. This is going to be one of those, it's a first time matchup. So it's like that we don't know what to expect. We haven't, we never experienced these two wrestling before. And we also have some other matches out. And this one is not, well, it's not a first time match. It's a rematch. MSP versus Above the Rest. Gabriel Sky and Tristan Thai, two great wrestlers in, Limitless, and tagging up, okay, and versing two legends. I mean, just legends in the game. Danger Kid and Aggro are just amazing. I've watched them. Another team that I first saw actually in NCW. They were down there with Alexander Lee at the time, Trios, MSP the mainstay posse. This is how I remember them, back then, and they come with the buoys, and they were just, your main boys. There's so much more than that. I've got to see them at Please Come Back and Beyond, and then they were just, they came out raring, ripping, and roaring, kicking ass. I saw them at other, promotions now, from Jersey on. They've really made a name for themselves between, Limitless, Beyond, Let's Wrestle, all these promotions, all these great companies. And, they redefine themselves. After, like I said, one of the greatest moments in Limitless history. And it was because, everybody, they heard the music drop, and, AG was just released from WWE. So we didn't know if he was coming to, back to Limitless. He was former champion right before, he relinquished the title. So you hear Anthony Green's music drop, but out comes, the Trios Prestige. And, they had the crowd heated that night, and then to just destroy MSP. And they did, at the end, Alexander Lee was on the ground kind of crying. MSP looked over and they gave him the buoy and they walked out, Danger Kid and Aggro, they walked away. And that was the end of that Trios. And MSP came back as just MSP, no mainstay posse, just MSP, the new vibe. They come out with their drip. It's a whole new game. Still great athleticism, still great wrestling, maybe even better now. I've seen them kind of, getting better as a tag team, even as they both, have learned so much along the way. And, it's just great, like I said, to see them succeed in the way they have. They're just, like I said, tremendous tag team. And this will be a great matchup. I haven't seen much of, about above the rest, but so like I said, I've been out of Limitless a little bit. So I got to go back and play a little catch up. But I do know that if it's a rematch and it's something that's already happened and involves MSP, then it's going to be a war. I mean, I remember when they had, their battle with JD Drake and the War Horsemen. That was a great feud. And, these feuds are just memorable. And honestly, this is going to be a great tag team matchup. Can't wait for it, folks. Just can't wait. I mean, they just keep coming on this show. And like I said, so stacked. And, not like I said, not everything has even been announced. There's people that with no announcing. Just going to be announcing there. I mean, no matches. Let's see. What else do we have on this card? I mean, it's tremendous that we can talk about here. Let's talk about this one. That's right. The bad boy himself, Joey Janella versus JT Dunn. I mean, JT is, this is the house he built. And he's come such a long way since their first time in the original first Limitless show. They fought. I mean, talk about an old school rivalry. These two, this is going to be tremendous. Tremendous. I mean, we've seen a lot out of JT Dunn over the last few years, just reinventing himself, redefining, wrestling, and chaotic. We've seen him do such great work with the unit and establishing that and, making people take the pledge and the prayers and, having this dominant faction across multiple promotions. It reminds me, honestly, of the original NWO. And you saw this, or even the Bullet Club if you want to go to modern times. And it went across multiple promotions, and people just go with it. I mean, you have like AJP repping the unit, taking the pledge. You have other wrestlers, like you had AC Romero and others in other promotions. But JT Dunn as solo, he's just a tremendous wrestler as well. He's come a long way. He's really, I've seen him in some great matches. I've seen him on TV, wrestling, AEW, WWE, whatever it is, he's at that level. So isn't the bad boy Joey Janella. Love or hate him, and a lot of people don't like this guy because he has a bad attitude. But he is a bad boy. Trained, well, supposedly he says he isn't trained, but I talked to a guy, Dirtbag Dan, and he said he helped train him. So, and I believe Dirtbag Dan because Dirtbag Dan's a nice guy. He doesn't lie. And anyways, Dirtbag Dan's another hardcore kind of wrestling dude. I've seen him wrestle around. He wrestles all over Jersey and such. He's wild though. But I'm a big fan of him. And anyways, I made a comment one day about Dirtbag Dan on a Joey Janella post, and man, this dude just tore into me. He was like, "I hope you expire. I hope you're no good." And I was just like laughing at it off. I think it's kind of funny. He does get agitated easily, but that's neither here nor there. Let's forget about the people that don't like him. What about the people that love him? He is an icon, a hardcore legend. He's probably one of the new guys that got me back into like hardcore wrestling. ECW was a great time, but then after that, we didn't really have it. And then, GCW and all this. I didn't really get into Nick Gage at first. Actually, it was actually Joey Janella that got me back into, the hardcore scene. And he's the one that got me into GCW. Then I started seeing the other characters around him. I remember my first AEW show in Boston. We had a dark match with Joey, and he just like killed it. Great athlete, like I said. This is going to be a top match. Tremendous. He was at Limitless not too long ago again, coming back. It's good to see him on the independent scene, And honestly, he is a tremendous wrestler. And this will be a great match, like I said, because they are, kings in their own castle here. JT Dunn and Joey Janella. This is going to be wild. Speaking of wild, we do have another match as well. That's going to be off the hooks. And that's former world champion Big Beef versus deathmatch icon Mad Tremont. I mean, come on. What a matchup. This is insane. I mean, I'm scared of what's going to happen. And I'll be honest, when they first announced Tremont and Joey Janela, I was like, oh, maybe these two will go at it. But that'd be too easy. That'd be way, way, way too easy. This is a much, much better matchup. Big Beef is a maniac. Okay, this guy is tremendous. He's hardcore, hard hitting. Just an amazing wrestler. Big Rip Bison did beat him for the title, and those two are one of my favorite matches of all time. For a hard hitting matches, the Limitless match where those two went at it in a chain match or a dog collar match rather. And, these guys were just beating the hell out of each other. And I was like, wow. Big Beef is on the map. Rip, he's there too. And like I said, Rip's in Japan, kicking ass. And I love to see it. And, Beef, though, he's another one. So, I started watching Beef after I'd watched him, wrestle out in Chicago. And he wrestled Anthony Green. He's wrestled all over. And, he was just, really starting to pick up steam. And then we seen him win the Limitless World title and become champion. And what a champion he was, what a proud moment for him. And he was a good champion, I do agree. Very strong. And his battle with the Rip was amazing. But he hadn't been back since, and now he'll be back. And again, fighting the deathmatch icon, Mad Tremont. This is going to be a crazy, insane, hardcore kind of a match, hard hitting. I'm sure there's going to be blood. It's going to be wild. I'm very excited for it. To see, obviously to see Big Beef back in action, but to see Big Beef versus, somebody, as good as Mad Tremont, it's going to be like a wild matchup. And, it's going to blow the roof off of Limitless. And then we also have another highly anticipated matchup. And this is going to be a lot of fun as well. Two of my favorite wrestlers. One of my favorite champions. Last man standing. Alex Price versus Jasmine Cole. I mean, does it get any better than that, honestly? Does it? I mean, Big Booper versus the Prize City OG in a last man standing match? I mean, these guys don't quit. I don't think I've ever seen Alec Price quit anything. This match could go on all night. These two are going to just keep beating each other until, someone can't stand. Literally. It's going to be tremendous energy too. Both are very high energy wrestlers. Big Booth always getting the crowd going. Always just, turning it up. I remember seeing him last year and just being like, wow. And being, very ecstatic to see him because he would bring the energy up. Even if you were like kind of feeling like tired or down in the show, his energy would re-energize you and like bring you back to life for it. Great, tremendous athlete, great wrestler. Love seeing him, watching him on IWTV all over the place. And put him against Alec Price. I mean, this kid is great. I've seen this kid, grow from, Bell Time and all these, promotions, UFO to all the way out, becoming Limitless World Champion, IWTV Champion. I mean, he is the best right now. Just crushing it on the scene. And, I can't wait to just watch this match. He's one of the wrestlers that I've gone to that I'm gratefully lucky I've got to watch grow up in this industry. Like not so much grow up as in as in that level, but mature. Go from gimmick to kind of like taking it to the next level and changing it, and really watching him do his promos and take his wrestling skills to the next level, wrestling better, and watching him on TV. It's been an amazing journey for Alec Price. And, he's one of my favorite wrestlers again on the independent scene. So this is going to be a great matchup. And I think it's going to really just surprise the audience of what, well, I mean, maybe not. It won't surprise the audience in attendance. Because if you're there, what these guys can do. But I think it'll surprise some of the people watching or some of the first timers, of what, Limitless really means. Because this match will be that without limits. This is going to be a great, great, great anniversary show. And still, this match is unannounced. Who knows what other surprises Randy Carver Jr. has in store for us? I know I can't wait. It's only Monday, and I'm already wishing it was Friday. I hope the same. I hope this week goes by fast and without any, bumps or hurdles. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I know there will probably be more announcements. I know that this is not the final card, and there'll be more things happening because it is wrestling. Let's face it, anything can happen. And even so, the card's always subject to change. But the matches that are laid in stone right now, let's hope they stay because, my God, they are good. They are so good. And this is going to be the great, great, great show. And I'm happy to be back covering all the independent action from Maine, from Limitless. This is going to be so much fun. And you know what? It's going to be more funner than this. After this, we're going to be doing, not today, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet, but our recap of this show will be done in the new VSW podcast studio. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that as well. Things are going to get a little bit more professional. Things are going to sound a little bit more better, look a little bit more cleaner. And hopefully get more eyes and ears on the scene, because that's what we love to do. As always, support indie wrestling. Versace Stoner out.